What is going on, everybody? It's Nothing But Skills, and in today's video we're going to be talking about a lot of the Dark Zone improvements coming to Title Update 8 and the expansion of Warlords in New York. Now, when they say that they're making Dark Zone improvements, realize that there is no new Dark Zone coming to New York City. As of right now, they are improving the current Dark Zones that we have. So some of the improvements that they're doing is Dark Zone XP is now only obtainable through player-to-player interaction. They want more of that player-to-player, that PvP. They want players to start interacting with each other in the Dark Zone, which is a good thing, right? All Dark Zone loot is contaminated and needs to be extracted. I think that's a really good move. And this next one is a really, really good move. Rolls on items now visible before extraction. And I love that because before we were extracting and just hoping that we got something good, now if we see that we really get something that we really need, then we know it's going to give us that adrenaline rush. Oh, I need to extract this because it's a really good item. Now, voice over IP will now default open mic, so everybody will start hearing everybody in the Dark Zone, which we loved in Division 1. It made for some of those really good moments. Now, the new Dark Zone currency obtained by stealing and killing other agents. The ability to see all players within 100-meter radius in the social menu, which is cool. You know, now if you're within 100 meters, you can see whoever is near you. Signature weapons and their ammo is now removed from the Dark Zone. That needed to happen. Like, I don't know how many times people hit me with the grenade launcher in the Dark Zone and killed me, like, over and over and over. And I'm glad that they're getting rid of the signature ammo. They removed the gray roll status, so they're going to talk about this in this clip that I'll show you in just a second. And then they added an extra extraction site per Washington, D.C. Dark Zone. So that means every Dark Zone has 3 extractions, and that's perfect. I like that. Now, there is a couple more improvements that they're doing, but they didn't really state it in this breakdown that I saw on the Division 2 official website. Now, before we dive into the clips from the state of the game, I do want to talk to you guys about the whole 12 versus 16 players. I did see the clip where they said that it felt like a slugfest when they had 16 players, and they are monitoring it. I honestly would like to see 16 players. Sometimes I feel if you could have 4 4-man teams in there, you could have 2 teams fighting each other and then 2 other teams fighting each other. I feel sometimes when you go rogue, you just have 8 people firing down on you. Or, you know, I just wish we could see more players in the Dark Zone. And if it was only 4 more players, that would be better than nothing. They decided to stick with 12, so let's see how everything turns out. We do have a lot of changes to the gear set, so it should all feel like a new experience in the Dark Zone. And I can't wait to see how the gear sets are going to turn out, how the brand sets, how the builds, how the new weapons. It should be a fun time with all the changes they're doing. And on that note, what I want to do is I want to dive into the state of the game. Well, this is the post show, and break down some of their clips. So let's get into it.
Please hit me with it, man. People have been itching for Dark Zone information.
Yeah, I mean, the Dark Zone is important to us. We didn't have an opportunity to have a new Dark Zone in the New York map, but the old Dark Zones have been revamped in terms of systems and in terms of what we're trying to accomplish. So we're trying to find our way back to some of what made the Division 1 Dark Zone experience great. And we've kind of deliberated along, and we kind of feel we want to streamline it, make it quite intuitive. We want to make sure that it's a place you only go to if you're ready to throw down. Like, it's not a place to go and harmlessly farm PvE activities. It's a place to only go if you're ready to encounter other players. Even if you're not going to fight them, you're going to play alongside them or whatever. That's what that zone is for. There's enough PvE farming in the game, in the missions and the open world and stuff like that.
I love that he said that. There is so much PvE, and there's going to be so much more PvE coming to the Division 2 with the Warlords of New York that you don't need to have a PvE Dark Zone. There's just no reason for it.
We're making sure that the stuff you get from the Dark Zone, be it gear, which is going to be good gear from the Dark Zone.
That's important to emphasize.
Yeah, absolutely.
That
it's going to be good
the Dark
gear.
Zone is one of the best places to go for some of the best gear in the game.
Any exclusive gear? I'll put you on the spot.
There is.
There's exclusive gear.
I like
and one of them is
spicy.
Spicy.
Yeah.
Cool.
So whether you go there to get gear, or maybe, you know, at some point you're done with your build or whatever, and you go there for currencies to buy it from the weekly Dark Zone vendor, the currency or Dark Zone XP, those things can only be gotten from things that have to do with interacting with other players. You know, kills, extractions, revives, so helping people, protecting extractions even if they're not yours, killing rogues, being rogue, going manhunt, all of the things that have to do with other players. Those are the things that give those things. That means you're not going to get any uncontaminated loot that you can just waltz out with. You got to extract. Currency, you can see what's on the gear as it drops now.
You see the stats.
So you can make decisions. And maybe you disassemble it, and then you get some Dark Zone currency, but that's also contaminated, also got to be extracted. And all of that means that we're going to draw people more to the extraction points.
I love this. I love that they're giving us exclusive gear in the Dark Zone. I think it entices people to go to the Dark Zone and try it out. And then I think that it'll give people a reason to be in there. If there's some good gear in there, let me go in there and, you know, put on a build, and hopefully I can hold my own. This is a great incentive to have people go into the Dark Zone, whether they're farming or fighting.
I'm just going to go on a little bit more about it. So also the occupied versus non-occupied Dark Zone, we kind of revamped that concept. So we don't want you to feel excluded from any of the Dark Zones and rotation because they're in a certain mode, and we don't want you to feel that you have to play a certain Dark Zone because it's in a certain mode. So now the Dark Zone rules are the same, and the Dark Zone scaling is sort of the same everywhere. So there's no occupied versus normal. We've revamped the rogue system to a simpler rogue system. What used to be the occupied Dark Zone is still different in that it's invaded that week, just like missions get invaded. So it's the Black Tusk that you're fighting, but otherwise it's the same Dark Zone. We've taken the best parts of both. So, you know, the manhunt, kind of going high manhunt and stuff like that. We've taken that from the ODZ, applied it everywhere. We gotten rid of like gray rogue. So like you're just rogue and then you're open season, or you're not rogue. So
I love this too. All the DZs are the same, right? Except when one gets invaded, you're fighting Black Tusk. So everybody knows the same rules go for ODZ and the regular DZ.
We want you to be able to, it is a push button to go rogue, but we want you to get that moment that you currently get in the ODZ where you can get the drop on someone. We don't want to lose that. So we revamped the push to go rogue to be very, very fast. So it's like a 300 ms press, I think, like that. Very fast button press. And it doesn't abort what you're doing. So if you're aiming, you can press it and you can just go rogue and you can start shooting. So that's really important because you can still like walk against someone, go rogue, and then start shooting them. But you still get that little split second of like announcement that nearby agent is going rogue to maybe react. So we think it's probably our best compromise between, you know, the kind of unforgiving nature of going rogue and getting a slight heads up anyway.
But I mean, the 300 millisecond alert is quick, right?
That's quick, but it's PvP. You gotta have quick reaction.
So they compromise with a lot of people who hated having the toggle and then people who hated just getting shot in the back. So they came something in between. You still have to toggle, but you can toggle while you're aiming, and then as soon as you go rogue, boom, you can start to shoot. So you better be ready when you go into the Dark Zone, or you might be hanging out at the checkpoint.
So instead of just 2 extraction points, however, we've added 1 more. So now there's 3 extractions in a zone, so there's a little bit more options. But when you fire that flare, you're going to sweat. You're going to feel it because it's a big signal that goes out. Everyone in the zone can see it. And because everything is so enraptured or revolves around these player-to-player interactions and how important extracting is, because it's the only way to actually get this valuable loot out, especially now considering the fact that some of that loot is quite powerful and rare and exotic. It's dicey.
So I 100% love the fact that they are adding a new extraction. I already said this earlier in the video. I do love that they did add another extraction. I always felt like 2 extractions never let you make like a counterplay. Say if you got something really good, but you're solo, right? And there was other teammates. Well, even if you tried to do 1 extraction, a decoy extraction, and went to the other one, they could still get to them. Now, if there's 3 extractions, you can throw off 3 different extractions, and then hopefully you can outthink them and just be the smarter player and get your stuff out. If not, you might just have to fight all 4 players.
The VoIP by default is now on.
It's a zone about interacting with other players. Now it's back to Division 1 default, which is you speak, they hear you. You can opt out. You can turn it to team only, or you can turn it off, what you hear.
I love they're bringing the voice over IP back. Oh my Jesus. I feel like a lot of the interaction you used to get with players, you don't get as much in the Division 2. And I'm glad that they do have it on now. And they give people the option to turn it off if they want to have it off. But if you want to have that intense interaction and those funny moments. And I met a lot of the people that I play with today in the Division 1, right? And it was because voice over IP.
Let us know what they think about it. Someone was asking about the Dark Zone in New York.
We haven't had the chance to make a new Dark Zone in the New York map.
Cool.
So unfortunately not.
I already had told you guys about this. There is no Dark Zone in the New York. And I have a feeling that was just because of the amount of work that they had to put into the new gear sets, the new brand sets, Gear 2.0. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to make one.
I want to mention, though, a lot of PvP players out there forget this, maybe. The gear changes. The changes we've been talking about and we've been showing. Like the amount of impact that and the complete rebalance of the skills with the skill tier refactoring, that affects how PvP plays in the short term. What it feels like to one-on-one someone or 1v4 someone or whatever, those things have significantly changed. And we've really, really spent a lot of time thinking about talents, thinking about skill balance, thinking about these things and how that feels in the Dark Zone.
And that's the big point right there. The Dark Zone is going to feel way different because the builds, the way we're building is going to feel different. The gear sets, the weapons, the talents, that's all going to make us play a little bit different. And once we get our hands on the new builds, I think you guys are going to be impressed, and I think I'm going to be impressed once we get into the Dark Zone. So we don't need a new Dark Zone just yet, but of course we would like one, right? And I hope, honestly, I hope they do up the Dark Zone from 12 players to 16 players. I would really love to see that. Let me know what you guys think about this. We're going to wrap up this video here. I just want to say thank you guys again for all the support you guys have been showing me on this channel. As always, until the next video, nothing but skills is out.